Director Alex Garlands must have had this quote in mind when writing Annihilation. What happens after the abyss stares back? What happens to one's identity in the face of the abyss? The film shows the journey of 4 broken women into the so-called shimmer, a rainbow-colored gloom that expands from a lighthouse, most likely due to an asteroid impact. Lena, our protagonist, wants to find her husband, who got lost in the shimmer during a military operation. Annihilation is an adaptation of a book by the same name, but Garland only included what he remembered from the book, so the film draws heavily from other works as well. The premise of a zone in which everything defies logic, and that was created by an extraterrestrial object, is reminding us of Tarkovsky's Stalker, while the visuals are clearly influenced by Lovecraft's novel Color Out of Space. Visualizing something that is beyond human understanding is always hard. The easiest way is to be ambiguous and not showing it. Carpenter did this in his masterpiece, The Thing. Although we see many practical effects of body horror, we never get to see the thing itself. Garland tried the opposite in Annihilation. His shimmer looks like a reflection of light in a soap bubble. Inside it, he amplifies the colors to an extreme amount. Everything is always bright, always gloomy, something that feels unnatural. During the climax, Lena reaches the lighthouse, which is surrounded by giant diamond trees. Here she discovers the alien life form. Garland chose a creature design that is fully mathematical, a being of fractals, ever-changing in its form. Abstract and infinitely complex, it is completely alien to the human understanding. At some point in that sequence, it changes to something comprehensible. After Lena stared at it long enough, it develops a humanoid shape. Here we see the core concept of annihilation, which is the destruction of identity. We learn that the shimmer assimilates everything in it, even memories and emotions. So the alien slowly becomes a clone of Lena, copying her movements. It assimilates her as a person. But does this mean that Lena will vanish? Does assimilation mean annihilation in the face of the abyss? Albert Camus once wrote that everyone, at some point in their life, must face the absurd, that which is meaningless. He saw 3 conclusions to this: suicide, a leap of faith, or recognition. Lena learns that her husband chose the first after he encountered his alien clone. In the end, she destroys her clone and the shimmer ends. It seems she chose the leap of faith, ignoring the absurd and creating her own meaning. But this is, according to Camus, philosophical suicide. The last scene shows Lena meeting with what we now know is a clone of her husband. We see that her eyes change colors, indicating she acknowledges the absurd, let it become a part of her. This would be recognition, the last and only option that Camus deems right. Annihilation uses everything film has to offer in order to depict existentialist ideas. Its visual cues, soundtrack, and script all seem alien at first. It's not an easy watch, but highly rewarding for the active viewer. The slow pacing and visual identity would make it much harder to enjoy as a TV show or game. Like Serial Experiments Lane, the anime we depict in this series, it directly links existentialism to an identity crisis. Although it is considered a sci-fi film, its existentialist ideas are rooted in a more grounded territory. Annihilation could take place in the medieval age, and not much would change in its core themes, and even in its plot. In the end, the visuals are what makes this film unique. Its use of color and its depiction of something truly alien to us creates scenes that could only work in a feature-length film. Color Out of Space, which came out this year, borrows heavily from it, but never achieves its own visual identity, and has an unfocused plot. I highly recommend Stalker to anyone enjoying Annihilation, as it is clearly the better film. But only if you stare into the abyss for long enough.